Welcome. In front of me I have the Samsung Galaxy A33. It's a 5G phone, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick overview of this phone. So anyway, let's just start it. Oh, fantastic. There we go. So, right here we get just paperwork. I'm not even gonna bother taking it out. I know that there's paperwork and a cable for charging. Obviously there is no charger. Look at the size of this. The charger is thicker than this, so yeah. And just, I'm pretty sure the cable that they include is a Type-C to Type-C to basically screw over everybody who used to have a different charger, so you need to buy a new one, Type-C obviously, if you don't have one. And honestly, if you had a different phone than Samsung before, there is a high chance that the charger that you have is probably better than what this phone can even handle. So there's no reason to buy Samsung's chargers, just to put that out there. This phone probably supports like what, 22 charging speed max? Oh, 25. A whopping 25 watts charging. So if you bought a phone in any kind of recent timing, that wasn't a Samsung, chances are you probably have like a 40-watt charger from 3 years back. Anyway, let's just pop it open. Can I nope, I can't. I have to just kind of peel that off. There we go. So, plastic back, amazing. For the price. So while it's turning on, I'm going to quickly just touch up on the display right here. We're looking at a 6.4-inch display, 1080p. It's a Super AMOLED display with a 90 Hz refresh rate, 83.7% screen-to-body ratio, and 411 pixels per inch. So the display here is, I would say, what you would expect from a mid-range device, and this is a mid-range device. It costs about $400, 390 euros to be more precise. So yeah, there we go. Now, if you never had a Samsung phone before, brace yourself for the most annoying setup that you can probably experience right here, because Samsung will require you to force you to connect to Wi-Fi. It's a brand new device. I have no effing idea why I need to connect to a network. It will also require you to reboot the device. Yep, can't skip it, because why would I be able to actually set up the device that is completely brand new the way I want to set it up? Now once you connect to the network and go to the next page, you get to restart it. Checking service provider information. What service provider? Please enlighten me. Where is it? What effing service provider? Which one? Which one? Yeah, restarted for no reason, because my service provider, the blank service provider, needs to, I don't know, check information. Fantastic. I absolutely uphold this. Anyway, let's just quickly go through this, because I personally am not a fan of Samsung just because of the setup right here. And because they do have a little bit too overpriced devices for what they offer for them. Hopefully that will end soon. Hopefully people can find better alternatives soon than this, because Samsung isn't necessarily the king of the hill anymore, but they still try to keep the price tag as they are. So anyway, I just quickly go through it. We're looking at Android 12, One UI 4.1 apparently. We have a, let's just kind of go through this. We have a quad camera setup, highly doubtful. It's probably part of them are sticker cameras. So we're looking at 42 megapixel wide sensor, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and there we go, 2 megapixel depth and 5 megapixel macro. So not only do we have one sticker camera, we have two of them. Fun effing-tastic. Love it. This is sarcasm for everybody. you can basically toss those cameras out. They're usually not usable, especially the 2 megapixel depth sensor. This will be most of the time used by the portrait mode, which portrait mode, when it uses a 2 megapixel camera, does a horrendous job of separating the background from the foreground, creating this disgusting blur effect around, for instance, like hair, making it look just completely atrocious, like some kid got into the blur tool in Photoshop and decided to go around your face. Fantastic design there. Inclusion there of that is worth most certainly paying for. And then we got the 5 megapixel macro, which honestly at 5 megapixel might be useful, though it's still just pitiful comparison considering this phone costs roughly $400, and that 5 megapixel macro ain't gonna do anything special for that price, especially when you compare it to a phone that I guess just loses the 5G option. It's 3 years old, costs less, and can just blow this phone's cameras completely out of the water, which is what I'm using on a daily basis. It's basically what I personally bought for myself way back, the Mate 20 Pro, and I can tell you hands down, this does not include any trash cameras, and the cameras that it does include work fantastically. And here, to be completely honest, I don't even know if I'm gonna get to the cameras, just because it's getting my phone ready, and it takes some time. So yeah, apparently this is at the moment that I'm aware probably the longest setup you can go through on any kind of phone or any manufacturer's phone. Samsung's right now are just notorious for wasting your time in setup for no reason. So let's just blast through all of the other specs. So we're looking at a 5000 mAh battery with that just puny 25 watt max. They have the audacity to call it fast charging without even including the charger. We are looking at a fingerprint under the display. Obviously we have all the things like NFCs and stuff like that. We don't have any kind of we don't have any kind of headphone jack on here. And then in terms of the front camera, we're looking at a 13 megapixel wide sensor, and for storages we have a couple options to choose from. We have 128 gigs with 6 gigs of storage, or 8 gigs of storage, and then 256 storage with 8 gigs of RAM. So there we go, that's basically all the specs of the device, and it looks like I actually might be able to show you the cameras after going through all the specs really here. So typically I would just grab the camera, the charger, and just capture a charger, but yeah, there is no charger for this phone. So I'm just gonna grab a microfiber cloth just so I have something to capture. So there we go. Let's open up a camera. Let's go into the macro section just so I can kind of show this off. Macro. I will give it the best chance right here, so I'll bring the light a little bit closer so it can have it nicely lit up. So not sure if it's visible in the camera, but it looks like right about here is the best focus that I can get. If I go any closer it becomes blurry, so that's why I'm not just completely doing this. So that's one. Let's just quickly look at this, and just as a, there we go, there is our, that's not the greatest. So there's our macro, apparently. That's what apparently in 2022 passes up as a macro. Yeah, I think not. So let's get my Mate 20 Pro, a 3-year-old phone. Believe it or not, it's actually cheaper than this. Now I can get the phone a little bit too close to the point that I'm creating shadow with it, which I don't really want to. There we go. So, same photo. I mean, the comparison here is just kind of hilarious. So, come on. So, this is zoomed in and it looks like a, I have no idea what that is. But here I can see individual strands on a microfiber cloth. Phone that is cheaper. and actually boasts a macro lens that is considered a macro. So that's what you can actually expect from a phone that isn't trying to scam you, because let's be honest, and that's what Samsung is doing with their inclusion of like 5 megapixel macro and 2 megapixel depth. That's a scam. That's literally what it is. Let's not sugarcoat it. You're not getting value for what you're paying here. So the only thing that you do, I guess, benefit from in this phone is 5G. And if you don't need 5G, there is no actual reason to go for any of like the mid-range or budget phones, I would say. So for everybody who's looking for a new phone with a 5G connectivity, I recommend just looking into older flagship devices. They will come cheaper than this. If you go for like a little bit further, so as an example, Galaxy S8, it's an outstanding device. I'm pretty sure there's no doubt in that. It only just loses the higher refresh rate. This one boasts a 90 refresh rate screen, and also loses the 5 gigahertz connectivity. Everything else in that phone, I'm pretty sure will be better than here, making this phone kind of overpriced and not like a logical choice to go for if you're not planning to use that 5G. So that's basically my take on like the current phones, and I don't mean this just like jabbing at Samsung. This is basically same kind of story for every phone that has right now 5G. If you're number one looking for a phone with 5G and it's a budget device, please don't. The absolute ecosystem for it right now, it's the infrastructure of 5G isn't built well enough to utilize it, and by the time it is, that budget device will be just kind of useless. It will be already outdated, running slow, and probably not not a phone that you want to use anymore. So I do highly recommend for now probably sticking with phones that don't have 5G. It's not like you're getting that much more for it, and just going for a overally better, well-rounded device than just going for like a mid-ranger that just includes 5G because it's the new hot stuff on the market. So that's basically my take here. Unfortunately, most of the phones right now just wants to include the 5G, and that's basically the key selling point. So just be aware of that. If you're not planning to use it, there is no reason for you to spend money on it, and you will get more for an older device that was a flagship. So there we go. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.